Hey YouTube, this is PokePower7000 here with another Wi-Fi battle. This is against UberAggron from Smogon. So let's get this battle started. I lead out with my scissor, seeing if I can at least get like some sword dances up and start, bowling, punching everything. But he sends out his Suicune. His Suicune uses a Scald. I was a little worried that it would get the burn. And I was hoping it didn't, but it didn't, so I was glad about that. So I'll go for a Swords Dance, hoping that I can at least get some good damage on it with the Bullet Punch. So I go for the Bullet Punch, and it does not a lot. I was a little disappointed. So he goes for another Scald, and it does, like really gets me down to red. And I get the burn, which I was very sad about. So I know my scissors is gonna die just from the burn, and I was gonna cry. No, I'm joking. So I sent out my Scrafty, hoping I can get some Dragon Dances up. He goes for another Scald. At this point, I was pretty much praying for not a burn, but I didn't get it, so I was pretty happy about that. I go for Dragon Dance, try to at least get like 2 attack up, 2 speed, so I can at least be faster than some of his other Pokemon. But he goes for another Scald, and he doesn't get the burn. So I'll go for a Drain Punch. It does a decent amount. Well, not decent, a pretty good amount at least. So he goes for, yet again, another Scald. And it does a good amount of damage. So he switches out and brings in his Dragonite. I knew that I could take it out with a nice punch, so that's what I did. I'm getting a little too far ahead of this match, so I'm just gonna let it play out for a bit. Alright, so I'll take out his Dragonite. I get the Moxie boost, which is terrific for me. He sends out his Arcanine, and he goes for his extreme speed. It takes me out, and I was disappointed yet again. So I sent on my Heat Ram, hoping to get at least some Flash Fire boosts, but he goes for the Wild Charge. So this is an okay amount of damage. My Heat Ram, some Balloon Pops, and he takes Life Order. So I'll set out some Stealth Rocks, so I can at least get some damage on the other Pokemon he's going to switch out. So he goes for another Wild Charge, and it gets me really close to red. So I go for the Earth Power, hoping to take it out. And I do get to take it out. So he sends out his Marowak. So I go for the Hidden Power Grass, hoping it does at least a good chunk of it. And it does. But then he goes for the Earthquake and takes out my Heat Ram. So I sent out my Gliscol. So I use Protect to get the Toxic up, because I have Poison Heal and a Toxic Orb. And he goes for the Toxic too, but he told me that it was a misclick, so that was just fine because it didn't really matter anyway. So I go for a substitute and he used Stone Edge, but he misses and I get the poison heal. I use Ice Fang to get at least a good amount, and it does. He goes for a Stone Edge, and this unfortunately breaks my sub. So I was hoping that the next Stone Edge wouldn't kill me. So I go for another Ice Fang, hoping to take it out, and it just barely lives. So he goes for the Stone Edge, and I live this one. I was surprised at how much health he had left. So I go for another Ice Fang, and I take out the Marowak. He goes back into his Suicune, and I knew that, well, I get the Stone Edge, but I knew this Ice Beam was coming up. So this unfortunately takes out my Gliscor. I just had the feeling that he was going to use the Ice Beam. So my Gliscor goes down, and I send out my Espeon, my Lime. So I go for the Light Screen. Raise my T special defense, and I know that Suicune is a special attacker, so this went to my advantage, seeing how his Espeon has high special defense. So I go for a Psychic and take out the Suicune, and then he goes out into his Mew. I get the Stealth Rock damage, and I go for a Psychic, seeing as my hidden power, Fire, wouldn't probably do much to it. So I get the special defense down, but he goes for the Shadow Ball, and this worried me a little, seeing how it did okay damage. So I go for another Psychic, and it just passes the yellow part. He goes for another Shadow Ball, and I believe no, I'm still in yellow, but my special defense goes down, so I knew I was going to die with the next Shadow Ball. I go for my Psychic as a last resort, because I knew it was going to die, so just want to get the last bit of damage I could get on it. Goodbye, Lime. So I send in my Garchomp, and I know my Garchomp is Choice Scarfed, so I know it's going to be faster, so I use Outrage, and I take out his Mew. At this point, I knew he had one more Pokemon left, but I could not even, for the love of God, know what it was. Then I saw the Metagross, and I'm just like, oh, fuck me. So I go for the Outrage again, and it doesn't do much at all. He goes for the Ice Punch. I knew this was coming, and that was a good part on his end. And it takes out my Garchomp right there. And this was a very good battle. Very good at indeed. So, thanks UberAggron for battle, and thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.